You ever come home after a long day, step onto your own porch, and see a paper duct taped to your gate like it's a public eviction notice? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. Big red letters. Final notice, immediate eviction. From my own ranch. The one my grandfather left me. The one I've paid taxes on since I was 19. The one where my daughter learned to ride under that old oak tree. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't a mistake. It was the HOA. Some new president, Denise. She'd lived here for 6 months and decided my land didn't fit the community aesthetic. But because I've got horses instead of a robot mower. Because I don't use beige gravel like the rest of the Stepford neighborhood. I stood there, wind kicking up dust across my boots, holding that flimsy piece of paper, thinking, are they serious? They were. But what Denise didn't know was, I own this land. And more importantly, I lease them theirs. The HOA's clubhouse and their precious parking lot? Still mine. And I was about to remind them what happens when you try to evict the wrong cowboy. I've lived on this land for over 25 years. 14 acres, 3 stables, and a spring-fed pond. My house is so tucked back, you'd miss it if you blinked, just how I like it. The town grew, and neighborhoods cropped up all around me, full of rules for curtain colors and mailbox heights. I never minded, until they decided they minded me. The first letter came quietly, slipped into my gate. Your barn is a visual disturbance. That's how I learned Denise had taken over. Clipboard, tiny barking dog, triple Chardonnay before noon type. Then came the complaints. Too many trucks in my own driveway. Horses too loud. Fence too rustic. Mind you, I'm not even part of the HOA. I own my land outright. They just border it. Still, Denise had a mission. She called code enforcement. Sent 3 citations in a week. And then, the fake eviction notice. Things escalated fast. HOA volunteers showed up with tape measures, snapping pictures. Ted, who once wanted to rent my land for a wedding, was out there playing CIA. They fined me $1,200 for wildflowers. Called my handcrafted oak mailbox non-compliant. And then the trash stopped getting picked up. Turns out, the HOA cut off my waste service. The final straw? They zip-tied a giant HOA development banner to my front gate. Photoshopped a model home where my barn stood. That's when I called my lawyer. Turns out, the HOA filed a bogus claim, said my land was absorbed into their district after a redistricting error. They were trying to steal my land through paperwork. But they forgot one little detail. The clubhouse and parking lots sit on MY land. Years ago, I leased it to the developer, $1 per year, as a favor. But there was a clause. If land use changed, I could renegotiate. So I did. I sent a certified lease revision to the HOA board. Effective immediately. $6,500 per month in rent. $15 per vehicle/day for parking, including HOA volunteer vans. They laughed. Until the new signs went up. Private parking. Pay a kiosk. I hired security to enforce it. Boots, tickets, the works. Then I posted another sign. Due to breach of goodwill, clubhouse lease ends in 30 days. Denise panicked. She called. I let it ring. Other board members came knocking. One even tried to negotiate. I said I'd consider it. If they dropped every false complaint, apologized in writing, and removed Denise. They refused. So I blocked the backlot. Lit up the only overflow space. Dropped hay bales. Parked 2 alpacas for good measure. Their next meeting? Nowhere to park. Security issued 19 tickets. Neighbors I'd never spoken to brought cookies, thanking me. Denise? She threatened to sue. My lawyer already had a countersuit filed for harassment, defamation, and property interference. And I wasn't done. On the day of their big summer gala, where they planned to unveil their new motto, Together in Order, they showed up to a locked clubhouse. But because I changed the locks at midnight, Denise arrived, heels and pearls, fuming. This is sabotage, she yelled. No, I said, handing her the lease termination letter. This is called property rights. Guests stood confused. Parking lot full of cones. Alpacas guarding the fire lane. Denise tried to push past, security stopped her. Then Sheriff Dugan rolled up, longtime family friend. Denise ranted. Dugan pulled out a copy of the lease. Ma'am, this man owns the land, including this clubhouse. Including your parking. Denise went pale. Then red. Then silent. Someone in the crowd shouted. Who's evicted now? Tipped my hat. Walked inside. Let the screen door slam. Through the window, I watched it unfold. Public embarrassment. Legal defeat. Sweet justice. In the end, Denise resigned. The HOA dropped all claims. And now? They pay rent. On time. Every month. Even changed the clubhouse sign to Community Hall, courtesy of the ranch. And the alpacas? Still there. They're mascots now. One of them's named Denise. I never wanted war. Just peace. But sometimes, peace comes with a legal clause and a parking cone. So if you're facing an HOA that oversteps, know your rights, know your land, and never lease without reading the fine print. Now tell me, what would you have done in my boots?